Hello, I'm Martin Smith and this is your UFX Markets Week in Review. Today we'll cover some of the major financial events of the past week and discuss how they impact the global currency markets. Before we cover headlines of the week, let's look at last week's rises and fallers. The Euro-US dollar pair had a solid performance, showing gains for each day and added nearly 2.5% on the week. The pair was last trading at 145.23. After 4 consecutive weeks of negative performance, the pound gained against the dollar this week, breaking the 160 barrier to close at 160.70. All in all, the pound added just under 0.7% for the week beginning June 27th. The dollar-yen had another mixed week and once again came up with a small gain. This week the pair added 0.41% and closed at 80.80. The dollar fell every day this week against the CAD, dropping nearly 3% to close at 0.9582. In commodities this week, August crude orders surged after several consecutive weeks of losses. Orders rose 4.15% on the week to close at $94.94 per barrel. Gold, on the other hand, had a mixed week, which led to losses. The yellow metal dropped nearly 1% and last traded at $1,487 per ounce. In news this week, the euro rose for the first time in 4 weeks against the greenback after Greek lawmakers approved fiscal austerity measures to thwart its sovereign debt problems, raising optimism among investors. The euro strengthened notably against the Swiss franc, more than it has in 2 years after the Greek Prime Minister's package of budget cuts and asset sales was approved. The dollar index fell the most since January and the franc weakened against its most traded peers as investors turned to higher yielding currencies. The European Central Bank is expected to raise interest rates next week. The Swiss franc fell against its major peers as investors sought riskier assets. The global economic atmosphere is one of minimal risk appetite due to low manufacturing outputs in the US and retail sales declining internationally. The pound posted its biggest weekly decline in a month against the euro as signs that the UK economic recovery is stumbling, reducing bets for an interest rate increase from the Bank of England. Sterling fell versus 12 of its 16 major counterparts, losing most against the Swiss krona and dropping to a 15-month low versus the euro. Reports this week showed British consumer confidence fell and manufacturing growth unexpectedly slowed in June, while a credit conditions survey by the central bank predicted mortgage demand to drop in the third quarter. Canada's dollar had the largest weekly gain in 20 months versus the US dollar as data was released showing inflation rose more than predicted, which prompted bets that the central bank will resume raising interest rates. The weekly gain upturned losses for the month and quarter. New Zealand's dollar reached a record high against the US currency after a survey by ANZ National Bank Limited showed a net 46.5% of companies expect the economy will improve over the next year, up from 38.3% in May. Turning to Asia now, big Japanese manufacturers turned despondent about business conditions for the first time since the global financial crisis and the after effect of the earthquake in March. However, a Bank of Japan survey showed analysts anticipate improvement in coming months. The central bank believes the recent Tankan survey results to be evidence that the quake's blow on the economy will be temporary, with firms projecting increases in profits and capital spending. The Bank of Japan might strengthen its confidence on output and Japan's economy at its rate review this month, although it will also likely signal its concern about the risk of a global slowdown. Well, that's all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed this week's review and you'll join us next week. Until then, be sure to visit us at ufxmarkets.com for all of your online trading needs. For UFX Markets, I'm Martin Smith. Good luck and happy trading.